warm welcome to Sasa Business Village. I am your host, Martin. In this US News Update segment, the conversation will help us answer the following questions. 1. Why should we be taking Donald Trump comments so seriously? 2. What is it about Trump's comments and threats that makes them deadly serious? 3. Why does Trump see Canada as a strategic target? 4. How does Trump view the world differently from Canada in terms of annexation and strategy? 5. What are the implications of Canada's Arctic border melting? 6. How has Canada's strategic approach post USMCA deal impacted its relationship with the US? 7. How does Trump 2.0 differ from Trump 1.0 in terms of goals and strategy? 8. What legacy is Trump aiming for in his second term? 9. How does Trump's vision of the US annexing Canada fit into his global strategy? 10. How should Canada respond to Trump's tariff threats and annexation rhetoric? 11. Is Canada's current strategy of proposing retaliatory tariffs sufficient? 12. What risks does Canada face by signing a bad deal under pressure from the US? 13. How can Canada demonstrate strength and avoid vassalization in negotiations with the US? 15. How does Canada post-pandemic recovery impact its international positioning? 16. What relationship qualities does Canada need to counter Trump's strategies? 17. How can Canada assert its independence and strength in the face of US pressure? Now, these questions will focus on the geopolitical context, strategic considerations, and Canada's response to US actions under Trump. Thank you, and let's get into the conversation.
I can't, answer for President-elect Trump. I know our message is getting to him. I've heard it from people that know him. I heard it from elected officials. He's hearing our message loud and clear. That's Ontario Premier Doug Ford speaking about incoming U.S. President Donald Trump, who is continuing his assertions that Canada should become the 51st state. Ford has proposed an enhanced energy plan in order to save off tariff threats from Trump. He'll also be taking a trip south of the border with fellow premier to discuss these matters in Washington next month. Meanwhile, CBC News has learned the federal government is also in the process of finalizing a retaliatory tariff list against the United States. All right, to help us understand why Trump is focusing on Canada and Greenland, we're joined by Irwin Studen, editor and chief of Global Brief magazine and president of the Institute for 21st Century Questions, a strategy-driven think tank tackling geopolitical and social challenges facing Canada. Irwin joins me in studio. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Thanks for having me, Angie. So why should we be taking Donald Trump's comments so seriously? What is it about this? I think his comments and his threats are deadly serious, and we'd be wise to begin to take them seriously. As a serious country, they come from three places. First of all, Canada made a strategic mistake in finalizing the USMCA deal. Pre-pandemic, we interpret it far differently from Trump. We see it as a trade deal. He saw it as strategic win, strategic vassalization of Canada. We became a vassal state after that. We didn't realize it. Secondly, Trump is looking at the world. We see a world potentially with peace deals in the making. He sees a world of annexation. He sees Russia, Ukraine, annexation. He sees the Middle East war's annexation. And he's saying, where's the North American annexation play? And who leads it? It's United States looking for soft targets. And finally, we'd be wise to consider our changed borders. The Arctic border is melting objectively. We will not refreeze it. It opens us up to the entire world. Trump is working off a global map. We're working off a bilateral map. And so that global map means that the more serious player will take advantage of a vassal state. And hence we coming in. When he talks about Greenland and Panama and whatnot, and the United States needing to be at the forefront of that. Yeah. He's thinking as a major power, with a very vast imagination. You have to give the man credit for having a vast imagination. He's still improvising. He's testing the waters. Our imagination is too conventional, too path-dependent, too bilateral. We'd be wise to consider that Canada is the second largest country in the world, with major borders ourselves. We got the U.S. border, but we've got a European border to the east. We've got the Chinese-Asian border to the west. We've got the Russian border. We're squeezed by major powers on all sides. We need to play at that level, or we'll get crushed. You've talked about how Trump. This is sort of Trump 2.0. Very different from what we saw Trump in his first term in 2016. Talk to me about that shift and that change. Well, Trump 1.0 was an experimental politician. Okay, a showman, a real estate tycoon, improvising in politics, testing the waters. Trump 2.0 is an end-of-life and second final term president. If he makes it that far, he's not playing for transactions. He's not playing for bilateral trade. He's not even playing for the American public or law. He's playing for biblical stakes, for legacy. And he sees himself as amongst the great players in the world, perhaps as amongst the great American statesmen. What's his legacy? Well, Canada is a great legacy to have. It's the second largest country in the world. It would make the America the largest country in the world, with borders on all sides. So it's no coincidence. He's looking at it. He's testing the waters. He's mainstreaming. The message will be wise to push back. So let's talk about that. Pushback. We've heard sort of. Now he's talking about the 25% tariffs Canada's looking at. Saying, okay, well, we're going to come back on this as well. And we've got inklings in terms of this, live list, if you will, of goods and services that could potentially, hurt the United States and sort of, become that tit for tat. Where is our positioning on this? Are we sort of going down the right trajectory here? Or is there much more that needs to be done here? Considering now, we are also flailing. When it comes to the leadership with our government, we're flailing on many fronts coming out of the pandemic, which happened. We had about 7 systems, crises across the country. We're barely recovering. One of them was a crisis of great international weakness. Trump senses that weakness.
So Premier Doug Ford addresses President-elect Trump's controversial comment about Canada becoming the 51st state. Ford proposes energy reforms while Canada prepares retaliatory tariffs against U.S. threats. Global Brief's Irwin Studen breaks down Trump's bold vision, annexation strategy, and the impact on Canada. Why is Canada at risk of becoming a vassal state? How should Canada respond to Trump's 2.0 legacy-driven ambitions? Watch now to explore critical geopolitical insights and what it means for Canada's future. Thank you. I was your host, Martin. It is a pleasure to have you watch and listen. Please subscribe and share this video so that many people can see. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that anytime I upload a video like this one, you are the first one to be notified.